All right. Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning. A little late today, Monday morning, and wanted to make this very quick video, quick live, to tell you about why you're the best person to do therapy at home. Okay, and the reason why this is an important topic that you should think about is basically because right now the pandemic is still very, very real. There are therapy centers that are open with strict protocols. And whilst I'm also doing so slowly, you also have to remember that if you have time at home, I know that some of the moms are going back to work and it's becoming increasingly difficult to do therapy at home. Is that, hey, it's okay. It's okay that your child isn't going to therapy yet because you're scared. And heck, some parents aren't even letting their children go to schools yet, right? And what I predict is that a lot more schools and therapy centers are actually going to close down. And when that happens, there's going to be a shortage of therapy services, right? And the reason behind this is because schools and therapy, they are very cash flow intensive businesses. Not to get very technical, but it's very labor intensive. You need a therapist one-on-one to a child, and you need someone, a parent, a lot of parents and children to come to cover the costs. So from a business standpoint, I think what's going to happen is that therapy centers, the smaller ones, are going to close. Actually, the medium-sized ones will close the fastest. The small ones, at least, like myself, I'm just doing my own work. I don't have a lot of overhead, so it's fine. But the big ones should be fine. So what's going to happen is that therapy services are going to become less accessible, right? And more within this year, you will see more and more services stop, and you might see an increase into like home therapy services. People asking therapists to go to their homes to do speech therapy or ABA therapy or occupational, whatever therapy it is. And this is very important because that means the parents and the mothers or the fathers' part in therapy has increased. Because basically, are you comfortable with someone going to your house during this time? Even if yes, how many times can you actually spare? Sorry, my cat is going crazy. He's agreeing with what I say. So at the end of the day, you are the perfect person to teach your child, because most of the time, right? Even if I teach a child very nicely and I tell the parent what to do, when you go back home, it's just going to be the same movie over and over again. I have a client right now who has been following what I've been saying online, and they stopped coming, obviously, because I basically ended my therapy services. Right, I didn't want to start anything, and at home, the parents said, "Hey, it's not. They haven't been. The child hasn't been improving at all." And so what happened was that I decided that I would go to their place for like once a week. But I'm not. What I'm telling you is that, hey, I'm not going to do this like all the time. This is the only person I'm seeing right now, and I'm only doing it because it's very bad at home, right? So after I taught the mom to like sit down with me and do the therapy with me and show her, and then she does it one more time, it's much better at home. There's no more tantrums. It's much easier to actually handle. He's starting to talk a lot more again. So is there going to be a dip in terms of your child's ability during the pandemic? Yes and no. Yes and no. There are children who like being at home all the time. There are children who like cannot function without some kind of structure, right? And it's the same with like normal human beings. So what should we do at that situation is to equip yourself, okay, as a parent during this time, to embrace the fact that even if this pandemic blows off, and I don't think that it's going to within this year, and everyone knows that now, it's getting very dire, and I don't want to become like the person who talks about the pandemic all the time. But what you have to understand is that you have to start equipping yourself with enough knowledge and skills so that even if things get back to normal, you will still see a shortage of therapy services. And what's going to happen is that you will have to hire someone to come over, and that's not really the best case scenario. So what can you do at this time? Well, this video is to tell you, and I've said it many times before, that you're the best person to do therapy at home, right? It's just, you're the best. I can't even do it because for me, I don't have that relationship yet. Let's say that I'm 6 months down the line with your child and we've built a very good rapport, very good relationship. Then maybe I will have a chance to compete with you. But at this time, there really isn't anyone else because, frankly speaking, you're the person who spends the most time with your child. You're the person who talks and sleeps and eats with your child the most. So therefore, you should be the person who does the therapy. And parents will tell me, no, Ming, no, I can't do that. I don't know how to do anything. Please tell me what to do. And when I tell them what to do, some parents will say, oh, I disagree. I don't think this will work. I've tried it before. But what I'm telling you to do is to be a little more faithful, okay? You see, like when I do something, when I can only speak for myself, right? When I do therapy for a lot of children, what I do is I don't give up. I keep on going. But parents, although you're on the right track, you might be on the right track. Most of the time you are on the right track, is that you give up halfway, right? And some parents go to the whole extreme and think that, oh, I just need to do it like 2 hours a day and keep on drilling that child. But that actually does the opposite. So you see there's a whole spectrum. Like over here, parents give up very easily. And here, parents are very stubborn. They don't keep on doing it. You need to be in the middle. You need to be in the middle. And it needs to be according to your child's personality as well. So what can you do to change your mindset about it? And I've said it many times before, right? If this is the first time that you're watching a video from me, then I'm going to tell you here that when you're doing these kind of teaching, you're doing teaching at home, you're teaching your child something, your mindset is like 90% of everything, okay? And why I say that is because it's not about what you do or what you say, is actually like how you think about it, how you break down that task, and then to present to your child so that he or she understands it very easily, okay? Let me give you an example. So on last Friday, went to my client's house, the only person I'm going to right now and seeing physically. So we were teaching him like on top and under, right? And so when I taught, the mom said, oh, he doesn't understand. So basically what I did was I made it very, very easy for the child to understand. I put a chair onto the table, something that's outside of a context, so that he's like, wow, okay, what's this chair doing on the table, right? And then after that, I told him that to put something under the chair. I showed them a few times, and then I showed them a few times to put it on top. So there's only one thing that he's looking at. There's only two things that he needs to learn, under and on top, right? So once you do it like a few times, you show it to him or her, and then you tell him to do it himself, he's going to be able to do it, right? Because we have now chopped up the task enough and presented it in a way that he understands the best way possible, right? So this is why a mindset is very important. Can you go into like a task to think about, okay, what am I going to teach for this for like 5 to 10 minutes? Just only one thing. What I'm going to teach my child this thing and let them remember it, and that's it, right? Can you do that? Yeah. And what I see is happening at home right now is that parents are jumping all around the place, especially those who are telling me what's happening at home. And I urge you to tell me what's happening, right? So you can email me or DM me or PM me, whatever, wherever you see me. My email is ming@agentsofspeech.com, and you can just send me an email. And why I say that, you are all over the place, because you need to be honest with yourself. How many things are you working on, right? Well, how many things are you working on? Thanks for agreeing with me, Anita. Yeah. So how many things are you working on right now? Are you working on a few things? Because last time I got a question, she was like, oh, I'm trying to do this. My child can't read. My child can't write. my child can't like identify colors. And then I'm like, hey, which one are you doing? Are you doing identify colors or are you doing reading and writing? Okay, can she even speak? What's the most important thing right now? Okay, so you have to identify what's the most important thing right now. And if you're familiar with process management, all right, I'm gonna throw some words at you, or just if you remember your high school days, okay, and in chemistry, there's this thing called what's that called? Yeah, I'm gonna embarrass myself. I totally forgot already. So basically, there's a step that is the slowest, right? And then once you improve that step, like you have a few steps, right? Or like you have milestones, right? So for children, you have milestones. So the one that is developing the slowest will determine the rate, the speed of someone learning something, okay? And people have different places that it gets stuck on. That's what I realized, okay? I don't know that if there's like any study on children's psychology or education or like development here, but it's true in science, it's true in science. So there's a rate determining step. Yeah, that's the word. So basically, there's this step where someone gets stuck, and then once they get past that, they will be smooth, right? Sometimes the determining step might be here, Doesn't matter. What I'm saying is, what is that step? Can you identify it? And that's why it works. That's why therapy works fast sometimes. And then you get through that hurdle, and then it goes poof like that. And then afterwards, you get stuck again because that's another slow step that your child is stuck at. So what you need to do is to identify what's the most important thing. What's the rate determining step? What's the thing that's slowing your child down the most? And what I realized is that parents are actually trying to do all things, and they don't realize that. And that's not your fault because, you don't teach children for a living, right? So what you need to do is you need to think, all right? You need to think, what is it the biggest problem? And most of the time, the biggest problem, Anita, you're watching, your child's biggest problem right now is the ability to imitate, right? So there's like 11 pre-verbal skills, what we call pre-linguistic skills. Before they start communicating nicely, there are 11 of them skills that you have to finish. You have to shoot for. And one of them is imitation of sounds, imitation of words, right? So what can you do to help? All right. So in terms of Anita, who's watching right now, she's been helping her child at home, and she's been sending like me updates and stuff. And I urge you guys to do the same. Is basically teaching the child how to imitate. Okay. And some children they can imitate, but they cannot take, right? They cannot take turns. Some children they don't know how to play, right? An online client of mine, the child can already talk a lot, but he cannot play. And then another one is like, children get stuck is they don't understand how to regulate their own behavior, right? That's also a crucial step. When you get to an older age, one of my clients again, she cannot say no to certain things, right? Or she doesn't understand like theory of mind, what we call like taking perspectives. That's also a step that she's stuck on. And so what can we find? That is the most important to a child's like social language, speech. What's that thing that is hindering us, right? For instance, like for someone who has been like just started therapy or just started to play a sport, of course, there's like just one thing you can do. It can make them like a lot better. Like for instance, in basketball, you just need to learn how to shoot, right? You don't need to learn how to dribble, just take the ball and shoot, right? That would increase your game a lot. For a child who doesn't talk, just teaching them how to imitate, increase their communication game a lot, right? But you cannot give too many goals to a child in one go because they don't understand why they have to talk to you, why they have to do it, what's important. So you only do one thing. One thing is not confusing, all right? Just do that for 5 to 10 minutes every day, and I'm sure that it's gonna be a lot better at home, all right? So now you understand, okay, the mom or the dad is the best people to teach speech therapy or any type of therapy at home. And you have to find like one task that you might have to identify yourself, or you could just like, show me and ask me. Or you now know you cannot do like 3 or 4 things in one go. You cannot like be too scared or worried that, oh no, my child doesn't read or write, or he doesn't know how to use a potty, he doesn't know how to whatever. These are all very valid, and we're going to do it in sequential steps. Is that you should choose only one. Okay, you need to learn how to be patient. Okay, learn how to be patient. Right? And I can say it very easily because child's not my kid. Of course, I can be patient. Right? I have a client who keeps on asking me, although she's been very educated about therapy and everything, and her child is pretty mature. She still asks me like, oh, my child can't do this, can't do this, can't do this, can't do this. And what I want you to do to be that person, to have that mindset to continue, is to think of what your child can do, right? What kind of strengths does he or she have? Yeah. So for Anita, her child, the strength is she can sit nicely for a long time. That means you can later down the road, we can teach her a lot of stuff very quickly once we have her attention, right? Focus on the strengths, not the weaknesses. You don't need to care about the weaknesses that much. If we think about all the weaknesses all the time, then we don't need to move at all. Then we have to fix everything. But it's not about fixing everything. It's fixing the most important thing so that it keeps on going. Okay. Let's say you have a car. Yeah, of course, the bumper came off, the paint came off. The aircon doesn't move, doesn't run. But what's most important is that the car like starts moving, the wheels start turning, right? And you can go somewhere, right? And it's the same with your child. Can you step back a little bit and think about, hey, what's the most important thing I can do for my child right now? It's not about telling them to like do things alone. It's not telling them to like eat on their own. Maybe that's important, but later down the road. But what's important is they start talking to you and start using like correct language or correct speech, correct gestures to tell what they want to you. All right. That's the most important thing. Can you establish that first? Because once you have that, it's easier to teach other things. Okay. So that's why I'm saying that the mentality, then the mindset going into it is very, very important. Okay. And let's go on. Let's talk about, we have to establish that you're the best person. But what's the best practice? Yeah. What is the best practice? The best practice is to give 5 to 10 minutes every day. And then other times of the day, you don't become a teacher. Okay. You don't become a teacher. And what I mean by that is that don't spoil your relationship with your child, because you already are, how to say this correctly. So don't spoil your relationship with the child, because you're the person who spends the most time with them. Therefore, you're the most equipped to actually teach your child, right? What I mean is, there was a parent who asked for a consultation, right? And she was saying how, whenever I go and join my child's play, he would run away. And I'm like, hey, this is more common than you think. So what we can do about it is basically we will tell the child to, I told the mom to, do not ask any questions, right? Do not try to invade your child's personal space. Let them be. Let play be play. Let work be work. Let therapy be therapy. Don't mix it together yet, because you can't. Once a child feels like you're trying to do therapy to them when it's supposed to be their like downtime, they're gonna run away. They're gonna not like it. They're gonna hate hanging out with you. So what you can do, what's the best practice, is that whenever your child is playing, slowly join. Don't put your goals in front of theirs. Their goal is to have fun, right? Therefore, when you teach a child, you should think about how to make it more fun for them. How do you make more sense for them to listen to me or to us, right? How do we make sure that this is something that they want to do instead of what we want to do? Put our needs behind theirs. We can do it for food. We can do it for like drinks. We can do it for comfort and shelter, right? All these things we can give up for a child. We can give up Oh, you eat first, I don't need to eat. Oh, you drink that first, I don't need to drink. You sleep first. But when it comes to learning, it's not the case. We think that we know better, and we try to put our agendas up before them, right? What we try to do is, oh, no, you shouldn't play now, you should work. Yeah, well, that might work with children who are typically developing and mature, and have a sound moral value and and a work ethic. But for a child who's speech delayed, who doesn't understand much, if you do that to them, you're basically the real bad guy here. You're the bad guy. So what we can do here is to put their thoughts, what they want, in front of ours. Okay, right? So what is it in for them? What is it most important to them? Is to have fun, is to get something to eat, is something that's gratifying, right? So what I'm trying to say is, your mindset behind it needs to change. You cannot think that, oh, I want to teach my child, so they should shut up and sit down. That's the wrong way to do it. The thing should be, my child wants to play, cool, I will let you play if you listen to me, right? If you listen to me, it'll be more fun. You will learn, which is a secondary, it's a consequence of it. It's not the main purpose, right? I'll teach you how to play. It'll be fun with mom and dad. These things should be the core of it. So when you go to a therapy place, what do you see the therapist do first? Play, right? When you go to a therapy place, is it the first thing that they do is to make the child talk or make the child work? Then you're at the wrong place, right? You're not developing a good relationship with the kid. You're not telling them what's in for them, all right? So even though you are already the best person to do something about the child right now, and whereas, a lot of therapy centers are open again, and sorry about my nose, and whereas you can bring them back to school soon and everything, the matter of fact is, you being at home, the time at home still doesn't change, right? It still doesn't change. Are you able to allow them to talk to you, all right? And I've talked about this many times, right? I've had parents come to me who say hey man, dude, they never said dude to me, I'm adding this, okay? they said hey man, I go to this therapy center, when are you open? They're doing this and that. And I'm not here to say that they're doing a bad job or anything. And in fact, just because they're working, I'm already very happy about it, because people do need help. But what they don't realize is that the parents need more help at home than in the therapy center, right? You cannot take a therapist, even if they're the correct one for your child. You cannot take them home. You can't take them home. You can't take them home and have 24 hours with them, right? You're the person who puts them to sleep, feeds him or her, and teaches them whenever you have any spare time. So if right now you're still working at home, and you have all the time in your hands, you really need to improve yourself, because as I've talked about, therapy is going to be very different after this pandemic, right? Because it's actually very risky once there's a pandemic around, to have a physical location anymore. So what I think is going to happen now is just me thinking, right? A lot of places are going to downsize. They're not going to have a lot more group sessions. They have one-on-one sessions more. That means things are going to be a little more expensive. And then they will hire less staff. Probably in Indonesia, there'll be more staff, to be honest. But at the end of the day, what you need to do, what doesn't change, let me put on my glasses now. What doesn't change is that you need to equip yourself. And let's talk about how to equip yourself, okay? So there are a few ways that you can equip yourself. First of all, there's a lot of YouTube videos out there, okay? Mine as well, if you're watching on YouTube, hallelujah. It's called Agents of Speech. And what other things can you do? You can read a book, okay? Let me tell you about a book. So, where's my book? So you can read books like this, right? It's called It Takes Two to Talk. I don't know if it's mirror imaged on your screen. It is on mine. And it's from the Hanen Center. Hanen Center, Hanen, Hanen Program Center. It's a good book. And Hanen Center gives a lot of good parent advice that therapists give a lot. And why it's good is because it's easy to understand. All right, it's easy to understand. And it's good to actually read through. I mean, it's a lot of pages. How many pages are there? This is a quick read considered. It's 150 pages, and it's all in English. Okay, so what can we, like, if you need help about this, I can talk about it in more detail in videos, and we can actually talk about it. And why I wanted to take this book out is because it talks about some like communication styles of children, right? So sometimes, like the therapists always say, oh, let your child lead, but actually letting your child lead can be quite difficult because some of them they don't start out. So there are different. I'll just read out some of the passages here. I'm not saying that this is like a Bible or something. I'm not like I'm not preaching this. I'm not preaching it. I'm just saying that it's very useful. So for instance, it says children have different styles of communicating. A child's communication style can be either to make it easy or harder for her to interact with others. A child's communication style depends largely on her ability to do two things. Number one, start interaction with others. Number two, respond when others start an interaction with her. So very, very. So this means that does your child responsive at all? Does your child initiate anything, right? So these are very difficult, right? So communication style has a lot to do with a child's personality as well as how comfortable she feels in a situation. It can be influenced by her language difficulties as well as her physical health, side effects of medications, and overall development. So to all of you who keep on asking me about diet, yes, it does sometimes irritate children, but does it affect speech? I don't know. There's not much study. People say DHA, people say like the niche MEC something protocol, but there are a few styles that you can look for, right? So children can be, this one is very easy to actually teach. So one of them is called sociable communication style, where a child starts talking to you a lot, right? But maybe they're still like a little language delayed and they speak in like telegraphic sentences, like mommy eats, baby sleep, they sleep, they eat, sleep, cats, I don't know. So it's incorrect, the grammar, but they still go on, right? So, and then you have some children who are reluctant to communicate. They don't really want to talk to you, but they are actually engaged. They don't respond to you, but they're actually engaged. Another type is a passive communication type, where they really don't care, right? These are the most difficult ones. And you should really take a look at them. Like, you really need to sell your toy in order for them to go on. And you have children who have own agenda communication styles, which means they just play on their own. They don't care about what we do, right? So this book gives a lot of insights about different styles, roles, tips, strategies on how to communicate with children on a daily basis. Highly recommend it. If you need help and you want me to do a in-depth review and in-depth like talk about it, then please let me know. Okay. So let's go back to how to upgrade yourself. Okay. There is a few ways. The free stuff is on YouTube. A lot of them. In particular, there are a few YouTube channels that are great. I think there's something called like Teach Me to Talk by a very senior speech therapist. I also watch that channel. It's pretty good. And obviously you can watch my channel. It's Agents of Speech. And obviously, if you haven't, you should join our newsletter at agentsofspeech.com. And then there's other things that you can do. You can read books. You can take courses. Courses are good, okay? But I feel like a lot of parents do not actually go through and finish them, right? So we have a course ourselves at agentsofspeech.com/course. You can go check it out. And I feel like parents don't really go through the whole thing because it's video content, right? It's like just now, but it's in PowerPoints. It's straight to the point and tells you what to do. But I feel like parents needs a lot more guidance, and a lot more hand holding in order to do it. So the reason why is because this book, if you follow everything inside, read it all and do it, it'll be much easier at home. I promise you it. Because I've read it and I've used most of I do use the skills inside a lot at home. And I've taught it to a lot of parents before. Not in this format that they talk about, but according to the child. So this stuff does work, but are you willing to go through with it? That's the question, right? Are you willing to like take information and act upon it, right? That's the main question. So therefore, a course is pretty difficult because once you buy it, like taking out the credit card and like swiping it is the easy part, right? And it's not expensive either. I mean, like some online courses for parents go until like 200 USD. Mine is like $49 or 47, I forgot. And the information inside is like probably all the basic advice I give in the first 2 or 3 sessions with a child, which is pretty much is pretty much, it's good advice, I would say. I wouldn't say it's the best, but it's good advice. So if everyone just took that advice and did something about it, their lives would be much easier at home. I promise you that. But what happens is that you will give up very easily. You will think, hey, this doesn't work. I've tried it a few times, it doesn't work. So what can you do about it? I believe, is to have a better community. Parents have to reach out to each other, have to show each other, have to tell other therapists what's going on, tell each other what troubles you are looking at, and then people will share what's working for them at home and what doesn't work. I think that's going to be the norm for therapy at home, right? Building a community that like tells each other, that talks about problems, solves problems together, which are very specific to your own child, instead of having like very general advice from online courses or from books. Because to be honest, this is it's highly specific to your child. Are there advice that will work for everyone? Yes. But does it mean that it will work for you? Not really. So that's why I have an online coaching program as well, just for parents who are willing to talk to me and send me videos of them doing therapy, right? And obviously it's not free. I'm not selling it here because it's basically full. I'm not taking on anyone. But what I'm talking about is that you need people. You need people that you can show. You need people who you can discuss with, right? You need people who you can talk about and analyze your child together. And I believe that this community is very lacking in this whole situation, right? So to equip yourself with the best information, yeah, you can join workshops, live stuff, and everything. But most of all the knowledge is actually in books already. It's already there. And how you implement it depends on your child itself, herself, himself, right? And I really believe that, therapists have to go into parent groups, have to go into communities, answer questions specific to the child, watch videos, get speech samples, see bad behavior, and then tell the parents to try something, trial and error, and go beyond just book knowledge, right? Since you're always at home now, and since, you're not comfortable with bringing your child to a therapist, then this is what you should do. And if you haven't, you should join our Facebook group already. It's called Parents with Speech Delay Children Support Group or something. But what I'm saying is this is going to be the norm of learning stuff from now on. And it's not only with therapy. You're seeing this with a lot of things. You're seeing this with online learning. You're seeing Zoom exploding in terms of stock price and usage and all that stuff. And you see like companies going towards using something called Slack, which is not an email anymore. And people share documents and have meetings there. And why not? We're not doing this for therapy. Why are we not having a database of, electronic and online things and speech samples, behavioral language, like a database where you can just search, and then you can see like a result, like a program where I have this problem, I search for it, here you go. And then once you have that information, you search it, and then what you do with it is like you ask the community, okay, look, I've watched this thing. Have you guys seen this before? And what this really is like a database, and it's driven by parents. And this is my dream, actually. And I'm just going to share with you what I think right now, what I want to do, right? Obviously, the online courses are great, but not everyone watches it because it's general advice, and people think that, hey, man, it might not work for my kid, or like, I don't have the time for all of that. So, and the problem with parents is that they ask something very specific without like a general knowledge. So what we need to do now is to build up a knowledge base, right? With these books are really good. Textbooks are really good, but how do you act on it? So increased knowledge is also a mindset thing, right? Are you able to share within community groups so that other parents will learn from it? That's one big aspect of it. Or how open are you to share about your child, right? I know it's difficult. I know that privacy is a huge issue. I also do not like to share a lot about myself and my students, but I'm doing this because I know someone's going to benefit from it, right? I'm only doing it because I know that someone's watching it and learning from it and using it, right? And that's why if you watch some of my videos, you see some of my clients inside the videos because they said yes, and they wish that they see this kind of videos online. So what I'm here to do is to motivate you guys, right? Go ahead. You guys are the best therapists to do all things already. You're already very equipped. You have the emotional support that you can give your child. You have all the relationship to go on to do with it. You have all the time to do therapy at home. You also have a strong love, a strong emotion, a strong will to act for a child. So that's the most important. But what is lacking right now is a few things. Number one, you can't bring your therapist back home. So you have to equip yourself. And to equip yourself is the most important thing, because therapy at home, 90% is a mindset, right? Are you able to stick to one thing at a time? Are you able to think that, yes, my child has a lot to work on, but I'm going to do one thing at a time and be patient about it, right? And it's going to be a lifelong journey. So when you are learning knowledge or learning something specific for a child, are you willing to share this knowledge, and are you willing to talk about it with other parents, other therapists, so that they can help you along the way? And which is a bunch of parents are actually sending me videos, questions for me to look at and help them to actually answer. Okay, and it might not be the right answer in the first go. All right, we have to keep on changing and change the approach, trial and error. The knowledge in books, in this one or in other books, they take you to like the first step, and then afterwards it's not going to work because not everyone's the same. So what happens next is that you trial and error, and you find someone and people to talk to and say that, oh, this worked for me. Does it work for you? Oh, no, it doesn't, right? So, and then we keep on trying. And then when it works, someone else is going to ask us and say that, hey, man, how did you do that? And I'm like, oh, it's something like this. And someone says, oh, it actually works too. And this is how we learn as a community, right? And this is what I want to build as well. Somewhere, people can share freely. That's very private. Nothing leaks out of the community. A very safe place for people to discuss and learn together. A database where you can just search, and also you can upload some speech sounds, speech samples of your child, and get actionable advice from people who know what they're talking about. And the last step, of course, is to help you out with therapy at home, right? And this comes in giving you the materials, telling you what to do exactly. And then also, if it's a speech sound thing, I wish that, I can make an app or something that can help you with dealing and listening onto what are the errors in your child's speech, what are the pronunciation errors, what are the articulation errors, what things you can do. And hopefully it can also help you out in training those sounds, okay? And the whole development of a speech and language delayed child or someone on the spectrum is that, it's also a development, right? You start off with no talking, no imitation, whatever, and it goes all the way here towards academics, towards, social life, towards verbal reasoning, critical thinking, mind mapping and all that good stuff that, I'm only slightly familiar with. I've done it before. I'm not very familiar with it. So you need all these things in between. There are people they are professionals who are good at different things. For me, I'm pretty good at, the beginning stage, right? I'm pretty good at the beginning stage. I'm pretty good at like dealing with bad behavior. And also, all the way here, I'm also good at the verbal reasoning stuff. But in between that kind of stuff, I'm okay, but not saying that I'm the best person out there. So what I want to do is like to have a community of people, of experts, where we can go to and ask them what to do specifically for a kid. Okay, so this is the reason why I'm doing this video. I just want to say that you're the best person to do it during this pandemic. After this pandemic, the whole environment of therapy is going to change, because at least it's going to take some time to recover, right? I mean, not anyone is going to put so much of a bet in terms of financially to hire a lot of therapists to do a lot of group sessions and one-on-ones anymore. All right, the small ones are going to survive. The middle ones are pretty much going to go bust, I think, because of the situation. The large ones are going to survive, but they're going to downscale. So therefore, right after the pandemic, therapy services will be lacking because people are recovering, people are reopening, and it's not going to be like that. So the best thing you can do now is to equip yourself and learn that like 90% of therapy is mindset, right? And where can you learn from mindset? Okay, you can watch YouTube videos like what you are watching right now, right? You can take online courses, obviously like online workshops, paid, free, whatever, right? It's not that expensive. And well, we have one, but the problem is that you need to watch it and actually take action on it, or else it's just another thing that you watched on the internet, right? And there are books like these from the Hannon Center. It Takes Two to Talk. There are a few more, but I think this is easy to digest and it's very easy to read, right? And there are also like communities where, really committed parents talk about how to do things together. And you see that on YouTube as well, on Facebook. But the thing is, you have to take a grain of salt, because, what works for them doesn't mean it works for you. And some parents say that, oh yeah, my kids start talking after they took fish oil. And you're like, oh, I should take fish oil. So you should be careful about what you read on the internet. And therefore, what I'm suggesting is that, you tell me what's going on, or you find a professional who you can trust and you can have a chat and they can tell you about what to do and trial and error. Because, knowledge and everything is good, but, it doesn't mean that it will work for you, right? Doesn't mean it will work for you. So you have to get something, get advice, act upon it. When it doesn't work, change it, keep on reiterating it until it works, okay? And therefore, my dream is to make a group of parents, therapists, whatever, and we can share privately inside about different aspects of therapy, okay? So that's all for today. If you have any questions, do let me know in Facebook, if you're on YouTube, whatever. If you're watching this on a recording, then just comment below. I'll see it as well. And at the same time, stay safe, everyone, during the pandemic. And I really, truly hope that you embrace the fact that, you're the best person to do it, even though it might be hard right now. And, your child's rejecting you, your child is hitting you, ignoring you. But it's just a matter of fact that we all go through this. Okay, even therapists go through this, right? But you got this, and hopefully just let me know if you have any questions, okay? So that's it for today. Thank you for hanging out with me. There's been quite a lot of people watching, so that's kind of cool. All right, so I'll see you guys on Wednesday morning, okay? I don't know how long I can do this for, because I'm moving house, and I might be starting therapy again, but the live streams might be at night. I might change it, but I do want to keep it going, because it does teach me a lot more about, like, when parents ask questions, teaches me a lot more about what you're thinking, and teaches me how to talk and teach nicer in terms of, delivering something. So it's nice for everyone. It's a win-win-win. All right. So see you guys on Wednesday, and do let me know if you have any questions. All right. Bye.